Meet Dennis. He is a hard-working law student nearing graduation and the completion of the degree he has spent the last 20 years of his life working for, when suddenly, and unexpectedly, he finds himself locked behind bars and facing a lengthy prison sentence. Dennis took up a job delivering packages to help pay for his tuition and unknowingly delivered a package of narcotics to an undercover DEA agent.
I'm gonna have to ask you to come with me.
Wait, no, it's not mine. It's not mine. It's not mine. Wait, stop resisting. It's not mine. It's not mine.
Get on your back.
It wasn't me. I swear it wasn't me.
Due to tough-on-crime laws imposed by the Reagan administration in the late 1980s, a judge was forced to give him a mandatory minimum 20-year sentence without any chance at parole or early release. Many supporters of tough-on-crime laws, such as Bill Jones, the former Secretary of State for California and creator of the Three Strikes Law, support the use of tough-on-crime laws as effective crime-fighting policies. He and many other lawmakers argue that these types of laws serve as effective deterrents to both the offender and the population as a whole. While proponents of tough-on-crime laws bring up many valid points, they don't seem to address the vast number of negative consequences often associated with these policies.
So we have a new federal policy toward nonviolent drug offenders to lock them up less often and for less time, as well as perhaps a new direction on stop and frisk. Two significant changes to tactics in the war on drugs, which admit, as Attorney General Holder said today, we cannot simply prosecute or incarcerate our way to becoming safer. This because, quote, our criminal justice system may exacerbate crime rather than alleviate it. The reason for that, the reason why tough on crime is not smart on crime, why it's good politics and bad crime policies, that prison is better at creating criminals than it is at deterring them. Prison is criminogenic. No one is saying open the doors and let them all out, but when we put nonviolent offenders, especially low-level drug dealers or users, in prison, we're ignoring the fact that putting people in prison will probably make them worse. You may say, hey, I don't commit crime because I'm scared of going to jail, and hey, I feel the same way, but most criminologists agree that people with job opportunities tend to not commit violent crime, and those who go to prison are far more likely to break the law again, which is why
Low-level and nonviolent offenders are now flooding into our prisons and are creating a number of problems for our correctional facilities. Severe overcrowding poses significant risk to both the inmates and the correctional staff, as it increases the likelihood of behavioral as well as physical and mental health issues among inmates. Maintaining our prisons is also a costly endeavor. The prison population in 2012 sat at over 1.5 million inmates, and in 2008 cost a whopping $75 billion. Now that we are starting to see how serious of an issue prison overcrowding has become, criminal justice officials and lawmakers are really only left with two viable options. We can continue down the path that we are on and put more money into building prisons that will be able to hold a greater number of offenders. Or we can change our laws in a way that gives nonviolent offenders alternative sentences that focus on rehabilitation and even serving their communities. Imagine if the judge had been able to put Dennis in a diversion program that allowed him to use his education to better his community rather than one that kept him locked behind bars. He could have gone on to finish school, obtain his degree, and do things that helped better his community. It will be impossible to make any substantial progress with our correctional facilities if we continue down the path that we are on. We must think outside the scope of punishment and instead focus more on treatment programs if we have any hope at helping offenders become better, law-abiding citizens. So I leave you with one final thought. Do you want better laws that help make offenders into better people, or do you want bigger prisons?